What an absolutely outstanding episode this was, and what a truly unforgettable introduction of Xiao Yan inside the Yao clan. From the very beginning, this entire event carried an extremely heavy and oppressive atmosphere, as if the entire space was already signaling that the upcoming Yao medical ceremony would not be a simple alchemy gathering, but a confrontation between the true peak existences of the continent. Xiao Yan completely overwhelmed those arrogant and overly proud members of the Yao clan, including Yao Wangui. His presence alone carried a calm but absolute pressure that made it clear how insignificant their pride was in front of real strength. At this stage, Xiao Yan's cultivation had already reached the peak of a 5-star saint, and in addition, he possessed a 6-star saint-level puppet as an external combat force. This combination meant that even ancient clans could no longer treat him as an ordinary younger generation expert. The Yao ceremony was almost ready to officially begin. At the center of this gathering stood Clan Chief Yao Dan, Elder Yao Wanhua, and Old Man Shen Nong. Each of them was not just a strong individual, but a true pillar of the alchemy world, standing at the very top of cultivation and medicinal refinement. Their auras naturally radiated outward, causing the surrounding space to feel dense and heavy, as if even the air itself was being suppressed. Alongside them was another extremely important figure, Han Huzi, the chief alchemist of the Han clan, a terrifying 7-star saint. His reputation alone was enough to make even veteran alchemists feel deep pressure, because his existence represented not only personal strength, but also the hidden power of the Han clan behind him. The reason why Han Huzi was allowed to participate had already been explained previously, but his appearance here still highlighted how complex and sensitive this ceremony truly was on a political and power level between clans. In the newly released trailer, the Yao medical ceremony officially entered its most intense stage. Han Huzi descended into the arena with overwhelming momentum, directly accompanied by the appearance of the Nihility devouring flame. This black flame was not just a simple fire, it carried a terrifying devouring property, as if it could erode space itself and swallow everything within its range. Its appearance alone immediately changed the entire atmosphere of the battlefield. At the same time, Elder Yao Wanhua and Old Man Shen Nong also fully released their own auras, showing that they would not yield even a single step. Their presence represented the dignity and foundation of the Yao clan, and they naturally would not allow outsiders to suppress them on their home ground. Then came another shocking moment. 3 brand new heavenly flames appeared for the very first time. These flames had never been officially introduced in the Battle Through the Heavens world before, meaning even long-time observers were seeing them for the first time. Each flame represented an unknown power and hidden mystery, instantly raising the intensity of the entire ceremony to another level. Finally, Xiao Yan appeared last. This order of appearance itself was already meaningful, the last to arrive, but the one who immediately became the center of attention. The moment he stepped forward, all gazes converged on him, and the entire battlefield's rhythm seemed to shift toward his presence. He directly revealed his heavenly flame and stood on the same stage as the top 9th-rank alchemists of the continent. This was not just participation, it was a declaration that he had reached the same level as the highest tier of alchemy experts. Even Yao Ling, who usually maintained composure, could not hide her admiration when looking at him. At this point, the question was no longer about participation, but about dominance. Who would stand at the very peak of this ultimate confrontation? This medical ceremony also marked the first time that 3 completely new heavenly flames would be revealed. These flames had never even been mentioned in the Donghua adaptation before, making this event extremely important for the overall lore and future development. Then, Clan Chief Yao Dan finally spoke. "Let the ceremony begin." With those words, the entire atmosphere of the venue instantly changed. It was as if a long-awaited signal had been released, and the entire world inside the arena finally entered its active stage. Everyone had been waiting for this moment. The Yao clan specialized in alchemy and was recognized as the strongest alchemy organization in the world. This status was not achieved overnight. It was built through countless generations of accumulation, refinement knowledge, and inherited legacy. This was the foundation of their pride. Their bloodline talent gave them a natural advantage in learning alchemy, allowing them to progress faster and easier than ordinary cultivators. However, this same advantage also carried a hidden risk. If one relied too heavily on bloodline talent, it could become a limitation that prevented them from breaking through to the true peak of alchemy. All alchemists were divided into ranks from Tier 1 to Tier 9. Those who reached Tier 9 were known as Alchemy Grandmasters, standing at the very top of the profession. However, even within Tier 9, there were still significant differences in mastery. It was further divided into 3 levels: Treasure Pill Grandmasters, Mystical Grandmasters, and Golden Pill Grandmasters. Treasure Pill Grandmasters represented the initial entry into the 9th tier realm. Mystical Grandmasters were already considered the peak alchemists of the continent, extremely rare existences capable of influencing the entire alchemy world. As for Golden Pill Grandmasters, they were almost mythical beings, so rare that nearly 1,000 years had passed without anyone successfully reaching that level or refining a true 9th tier Golden Pill. In other words, Golden Pill Grandmasters were not just rare, they were practically legends in the modern era of alchemy. The current Xiao Yan had already reached the level of a Treasure Pill Grandmaster after successfully refining a 9th tier pill, which alone was enough to place him among the top alchemists of his generation. For most of those present, the first stage of the ceremony was nothing more than entertainment. The younger generation of the Yao clan showcased their alchemy talents on stage, each one displaying abilities that could easily cause envy among ordinary alchemists. Only those who had reached at least Tier 6 were qualified to participate in this segment. From Xiao Yan's perspective, however, it felt more like watching children compete while adults observed from above. There was no real challenge or interest for someone of his level. The first stage continued for several days. During this time, Xiao Yan remained seated in meditation, observing everything quietly without interference. Only when the stage was about to end did he slowly open his eyes again. Through this observation, he gained a clearer understanding of the Yao clan's true strength. Figures like Yao Ling and Yao Tian left a slight impression on him. They were indeed talented individuals who could secure a place in the wider alchemy world in the future. However, Xiao Yan also understood a deeper truth. If the Yao clan failed to produce a deep god-level existence, then over time, their bloodline advantage would gradually weaken. Once that happened, the Yao clan would eventually become no different from an ordinary clan. So who won this so-called junior stage of the ceremony? The champion was Yao Tian. This was the same person Xiao Yan had previously encountered near the demonic flame region. He was the most outstanding young alchemist of the Yao clan, having successfully refined an 8th tier pill that triggered the 9-colored lightning pill tribulation, an extremely rare and powerful phenomenon. But once the junior competition ended, the atmosphere suddenly shifted. Everything fell into silence. Everyone understood that the true main event of the medical ceremony was finally about to begin. The confrontation between the true peak existences of the alchemy world. Finally, it's starting. Yao Lao also became visibly excited. At the same time, Xiao Yan unconsciously felt a slight tightening in his hands, as even he could no longer remain completely calm. Who would participate in the Yao ceremony? Besides Xiao Yan, the main participants would be Han Huzi, Old Man Shen Nong, and Elder Yao Wanhua. All of them were extraordinary existences, and in terms of experience and accumulation, very few in the entire continent could compare with them. But then another question arose. What about Clan Chief Yao Dan? Why was he not participating? As Yao Lao explained, as the clan chief, he naturally had to carry the dignity and authority of his position. However, this did not mean his alchemy skills were weaker than the participants. In fact, his ability was on the same level. The clan chief of the Yao clan was the leader of the largest alchemy organization in the world. Without absolute strength, such a position could not be maintained. Xiao Yan naturally understood this and did not underestimate him, especially considering his terrifying cultivation level of a 7-star saint. In other words, Yao Dan represented the entire Yao clan itself. It was not appropriate for him to personally compete with guests or younger generation members. His role was that of a symbol, organizer, and authority figure, not a contestant. His absence was not due to lack of strength, but due to his extremely high status. While Xiao Yan and Yao Lao were discussing this, Yao Dan slowly stood up. In that instant, the entire venue fell completely silent. Yao Dan said, "The opening phase has ended. Now the main event begins. 4 participants will take part in this medical ceremony. The victor will become the strongest alchemist on the continent." Han Huzi was the first to act. He stepped into the air while laughing loudly, his voice filled with arrogance and confidence. "Haha, Clan Chief Yao Dan is indeed straightforward. I have long heard that the Yao clan medical ceremony gathers the strongest alchemists of the continent. The reason I came here today is simple. I have come to challenge all of you. My Hun clan is interested in this title, so I am here to take it." Elder Yao Wanhua immediately rose into the air as well, responding with equal intensity. The Yao clan specializes in alchemy. If you wish to take this title, you must first prove you are qualified to stand here. Cheers erupted from all directions when Elder Wanhua appeared. After all, this was the Yao clan's homeland, and no one wanted an outsider from the Hun clan to take away their honor. Old Man Shen Nong was the third to step forward. His staff, formed from countless medicinal materials, trembled slightly in his hand, producing a clear sound. His tone was calm, but his hostility toward Hun Huzi was obvious. The Hun clan's reputation in the alchemy world was extremely poor. At this moment, 3 saints stood in the air. Yao Wanhua, 6-star saint. Shen Nong, 6-star saint. Hun Huzi, 7-star saint. These 3 were true giants of the modern alchemy world. Hun Huzi looked at Yao Wanhua and Shen Nong with a faint smile. 3 have appeared. Who is the last one? All eyes turned toward the young man in black. Xiao Yan slowly rose, stepping into the air and appearing beside the others under countless gazes. I have long heard that Elder Hun Huzi stole all his skills from the Pill Tower. Now that the Pill Tower is part of my alliance, I will represent it and challenge Hun Huzi. Please do your best to teach me a lesson. His words clearly carried the meaning of a deep personal conflict. Such a sharp tongue. If it is a challenge, even your teacher Yao Chen is not qualified, Hun Huzi laughed. Xiao Yan replied, "My teacher said I should handle you myself. There is no need for him to intervene." Hun Huzi then waved his sleeve, and black flames erupted from his body, forming a massive black flame cauldron. A terrifying devouring force spread across the sky. Nihility devouring flame? Xiao Yan, Elder Yao Wanhua, and Old Man Shen Nong were all shocked. Unexpectedly, a heavenly flame of this level had actually fallen into the hands of the Hun clan. Old Man Shen Nong frowned deeply. His expression turned extremely serious as he stared at the black flame in the sky. As one of the most senior and experienced figures in the entire alchemy world, he clearly understood just how terrifying the nihility devouring flame truly was, and what kind of existence it represented among all heavenly flames. The appearance of such a flame in the hands of the Hun clan was already shocking enough on its own, because heavenly flames are not objects that can simply be obtained through normal means. Each one is born from the energy of heaven and earth over countless years, and even capturing a fragment of one requires unimaginable effort, let alone controlling it. Could it be that Hun Huzi has actually revealed the true nihility devouring flame so casually? This question naturally arose in everyone's mind, because what they were seeing was far too shocking to be accepted immediately as reality. But Xiao Yan immediately shook his head and responded with a faint, cold smile. "No. This is nothing more than another seed flame of the nihility devouring flame. Yet you are acting so arrogantly." His words were calm, but they carried a sharp sense of confidence, as if he was completely unaffected by the pressure of the situation. At this moment, even Xiao Yan himself was slightly surprised internally. Another seed flame of the nihility devouring flame had appeared. He had already obtained one such fragment from Hunmi Shang in the past, so he was no stranger to its existence. However, seeing another one appear here clearly showed that the Hun clan's control over this flame was far deeper than expected. However, this one felt different. Xiao Yan could faintly sense that the nihility devouring flame in Hun Huzi's possession was significantly stronger than the one previously held by the Hall of Soul's leader. The density of its energy, the intensity of its devouring nature, and the pressure it released were all on a higher level. Even so, it still had not reached the true level of a complete heavenly flame. There was still a gap between this seed flame and the real origin. Hun Huzi, however, did not show any sign of panic or concern after Xiao Yan exposed this fact so quickly. Instead, he let out a light laugh. Although Xiao Yan had correctly identified the nature of the flame, he clearly did not understand its true depth. The nihility devouring flame was an extremely mysterious existence among heavenly flames. Very few people in the entire continent knew its true secret. Its seed flames were not all equal. They were divided into two distinct categories: Earth-class and Heaven-class seed flames. The difference between them was not minor. It was a complete difference in quality and strength, almost like two completely separate levels of existence. Although these seed flames possessed great power, they shared a fatal weakness. If the original source flame were ever damaged or destabilized, all of its seed flames would immediately collapse. They would lose their form instantly and revert back into pure energy essence, returning directly to the main body of the flame. This was not common knowledge. In fact, this information was considered a top-level secret even within the upper echelons of the alchemy world. Even figures like Yao Lao and Xiao Yan had never heard of such details before. That was precisely why, when they first saw Hun Huzi's flame, they could only identify it as an ordinary seed flame of the nihility devouring flame, without realizing there were hidden levels within it. At this moment, Xiao Yan's voice finally echoed through the space, calm yet filled with absolute confidence. Whether you can devour our heavenly flame will depend entirely on your own abilities. His words carried a clear implication. This was not just a warning, but a challenge. A test of whether Xiao Yan truly had the qualifications to stand on the same level. At the same time, the other two participants of the Peak Alchemists group also began to release their own heavenly flames. The entire atmosphere instantly became even more intense, as if the very space itself was about to ignite. And now, the only question left was, what kind of heavenly flames would Elder Yao Wanhua and Old Man Shin Nong reveal? The answer to that would determine the true direction of this ultimate confrontation. As always, the continuation will follow in the next update. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.